Welcome back to the channel, guys. Jarrell here with NocBro Nation, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 2, We Are the End of the World. So if you guys have not watched this episode yet, please go watch the episode immediately and then come back for this review. This episode was absolutely amazing. I cannot believe how they did this episode. The way that they had the symbolism, how they merged everything and made it mirror the flashbacks to present time was absolutely amazing. So we did possibly get a major reveal in this episode, but some things are going to be coming later on in the season. I'll get into that here shortly. We did get some amazing reveals as well regarding Beta and Alpha's relationship, but mostly Beta in general. So the flashbacks were 7 years prior to where we are now. A lot of people are thinking, was this right after Rick? Technically, doing the math, no. Rick disappeared roughly 4 years into the apocalypse. Then we jumped another 6 to make it 10 years to where we are now. So I would say Alpha and Beta met probably a year or so, a little bit of a year after the Rick Grimes disappearance. But anyway, so it was really cool just to see that another callback to using the blood and guts trick. So Alpha and Lydia were using the blood and guts trick. They were walking with the dead, and it seemed because of how Lydia was, she wasn't strong enough yet. She was always still getting afraid. So during that sequence, they saw a woman getting basically tear to shreds, and Lydia screamed, which made the walkers turn on them. So they took shelter into, I believe it was abandoned addiction treatment center. So that's where they were staying, and they ran into Beta. So Beta's standing there looking badass. He has a machete. He has a ski mask over his face. Now, it was really cool where just the little conversations that Beta and Alpha had, not too many, but you could tell that Alpha was trying to ring him in from the beginning. She kind of saw and understood that this is a very strong guy. He's able to survive on his own, and maybe I can use this to my advantage and use him for my broader plan, kind of what Alpha is eventually going to become with the Whisperers, but I think she already had that in her mindset and that she was going to do it. So the conversations with them was cool. It was really cool to see Alpha and Beta, kind of her talking to Beta about using the blood and guts trick. He's kind of like, so you can walk with them? And she kind of explains, well, it's not really walking with them. It's you have to become them. They don't fear anything. Their whole mindset is to just walk and feed. So you have to kind of, she's kind of telling Beta, you have to wrap your head around that and kind of use that as an advantage pretty much. And she did try to get a little peek under his mask, and Beta wasn't about that. He was like, nope, that's it. Get out of here. You're out of here by tomorrow morning. And then later on is, kind of going back and forth to present time. So in present time, it was really great because we got to see just how much of a relationship they have. Now, in the flashback, it was Alpha saving Beta from him going crazy of everything that was going on, and I'll get into that. But then in present time, it was Beta saving Alpha. So within the present time, they are wanting to get the pack returned. Beta wants to return the pack. And we know that Alpha removed her massive horde. We don't know where that horde is, but it's just interesting how they were kind of like, we need to get more Guardians. It's like, well, where are your other Guardians? Where did you take them? Did you take them somewhere else for the winter and left them there? And then you're gathering more now that you're back? It's really strange. I didn't really get the dynamic, the concept of, okay, where did she take that massive horde, and why are they looking for more Guardians now? Not really sure. But the whole concept, so basically back to the flashbacks, is Alpha is trying to understand who Beta is. Now, Beta's not giving much information, which is fine, but at some point, Lydia is trying to become more like her mother. So she puts the blood and guts on, and she wants to go walk with the walkers to prove to herself and to prove to her mother that she can actually be stronger, because her mother still feels that Lydia is too weak. She's not understanding her philosophy, all of that information. So we get into Beta's room where Alpha's looking for Lydia, and this is where we get a little bit more of Beta. So we understand that Beta was there, but he has a best friend. Now, his best friend died and turned into a walker, which he kept, and unfortunately, Alpha did kill him, and that's what pisses Beta off. But we got revealed that the happy face t-shirt that Beta wears now is his best friend's shirt, and we got revealed how Beta got his mask. So during that whole altercation, Beta is pissed off, he's throwing things around the room, and Alpha is basically saying, look, you are not broken. You know, Beta continues to say, I am the end of the world. I am the end of the world. And Alpha says to him, no, we are the end of the world. Come walk with me in the darkness and you will never be alone again. Come with me. And Beta in the end says, you know, I can't leave him because that's his best friend. And so she says, you won't have to. She hands him the knife. He starts cutting the face and boom, that is Beta's mask, his best friend. So his best friend is always with him, with his mask, with his t-shirt. His best friend is always there. So we saw a picture in the background. Now, I won't get into this in this video. I think we're going to do another video on Beta. In the background, before when Beta was smashing things and before Alpha kind of got in contact with him at that particular scene, was a picture of Beta and his best friend, and he scratched out their faces. Now, for any of you who don't know about Fear the Walking Dead, in Fear the Walking Dead episode 14, they may have possibly given us a spoiler or an Easter egg to possibly the true identity of Beta. Now, spoiler warning for the comic book, for anybody who's not a comic book reader, this has probably been mentioned numerous times before, but Beta in the comics was a celebrity. He was a professional basketball player. Now, what they're going to do in the show, we don't know, but it's possibly been spoiled or Easter egged in Fear the Walking Dead because we see Beta wearing a cowboy hat. Now, there is rumors that he is still a celebrity, but we'll get into it in another video of what he could possibly be, which we'll have to find out. So that was actually, I love the flashback pieces of it. Because in the comics, we never got any backstory to Alpha or Beta. None. We have no idea why they started, how they got their masks, any of that. So the only thing that we learned in the comics was Beta was a celebrity towards the end. But it's just really cool to see that Beta was struggling with, you know, the loss of his friend. And one of the telling things that Beta said to Alpha is Alpha was kind of so Beta was kind of humming to himself, and Alpha started humming to himself. And I think she picked up on who he was immediately from that. But he said the only music he likes now is the sound of the dead. So that kind of line also turns into, well, you'll have to stay for another video, and I'm sure we'll see it in the comments as well, but that also kind of turns into what potentially Beta might be or who he was in his previous life, which is pretty cool. So, but hearing Beta say that he only loves the sound of walkers now, it's just the dead, it's absolutely amazing. So, getting into the current time frame. So we meet our new Whisperer Gamma. She has a sister, and it turns out her sister was the woman who left the baby back in season 9 at Hilltop, which I thought was really great because it gives that character some substance. It's just not like a random whisperer who left a baby. We finally get to see who that person was and to see the pain that she's going through. So Gamma and her sister, apparently to Alpha, they're really good. They are good at rounding up rounding up guardians, which I'll say because that's the term they use. They're good at rounding up guardians. So Beta takes her, Gamma and her sister out into the world to get more guardians. Now, something happens to Gamma's sister. She's looking up at the sky, and she's starting to kind of lose herself. And Gamma picks up on that. She's like, what are you doing? If he sees you, meaning Beta, you're going to be in trouble. So Gamma's sister's just kind of losing her mind a little bit, and she kind of has these flashbacks to where she has a flashback of leaving her baby again. And it's upsetting. So we get to a point to where they're walking through and she gets dazed again, and they're surrounded by walkers and whisperers, and she starts crying, which throws off the order, and Beta picks up on that. Beta actually saves a walker from killing her, but then he says, you will pay. So apparently, this is probably what happens in the Whisperer camp. If you do something wrong, in a way that threatens the lives of the Guardians and other lives of Whisperers, you're going to die. So Beta calls on another Whisperer to kill this woman, but Alpha immediately stops it, and Beta is kind of like, what are you doing? And I love the dynamic between those two because she kind of tells him, look, don't ever question me. But Beta kind of comes back at her and is like, look, you already broke the rules. He already knows that she broke the rules. But the creepiest piece of this is when Alpha made that little girl, Gamma's sister, come into this dark underground area. And immediately you're like, yep, she's going to die. She's going to die. But what was really confusing, though, is like, so she had her kneel, and Alpha must have like squeezed her head really hard because it made the girl scream, and Gamma thought she was dead. She's like, oh, she's dead. But it was basically Alpha still showing her weakness again, because I think Alpha is still thinking of Lydia, and Lydia comes in to a big part of this episode where Alpha is just still so upset that she doesn't have Lydia, and I think that's why she allowed Gamma's sister to stay alive. And even Gamma is surprised that she's alive, but the girl's like, I'm fine, my mind is right, Alpha helped me, I think I'm gonna be okay. But in the end, yeah, it doesn't turn out well for her. But to the Whisperers, Alpha killed Lydia. Alpha told the Whisperers and even Beta that she killed Lydia. And it comes out a little bit later where they're doing another roundup of Guardians again. And unfortunately, Gamma's sister sees a walker that has like a baby harness on the front of it. It makes her completely snap. She snaps, she jumps on Alpha. There's other walkers around, so there's a lot of chaos going on. Beta is trying to get to Alpha, but guess what? Gamma comes right in, pushes her sister off of Alpha, so the walkers start devouring her, and she saves Alpha's life. Now, this is where we get anointed the name Gamma. So Gamma, and also going back to the flashbacks to where Alpha is talking to Beta about names, and she calls him B. And he's like, I thought we don't have names. And Alpha says, it's not a name, it's a letter. And Beta's like, well, if I'm B, what are you? She's like, A. Immediately, A. So I think you have to be anointed the name. And, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, those are letters in the Greek alphabet, and those are also kind of personality traits as well. So what was really cool is that because Gamma saved Alpha, they had a ceremony, and Alpha is very intrigued by Gamma. She sees a lot in her, and she has a ceremony at night where she says, I anoint you Gamma, and they're all whispering, to Gamma, to Gamma, to Gamma, which was really cool. So you have to be anointed a name. Every other Whisperer in the camp has no name or letter. You have to put yourself above the pack, which is what Alpha said. You put yourself and your life above the pack, so now you'll be anointed Gamma, which is third in command. So it would be really cool how she anointed Beta. How did she anoint Beta? Was it just because they were the first two? She became Alpha and she anointed him Beta immediately? Don't know. Pretty cool though. But It seemed like Beta was jealous, and in the end, even Gamma said, are you upset with me? Beta's like, I feel nothing for you, which is what the whole philosophy is. You feel nothing, you don't take on relationships or anything like that. But Beta does find out that Alpha is in a different part of camp where she's setting up for Lydia, and he finally realizes that Lydia's alive. But the telling piece of this was, he says, why did you lie to me? I don't, in a way, he's probably like, I don't care that you lied to the pack, but why would you lie to me? They started this together. They've gone through so much together. Why would you lie to me? And I just thought that was amazing. And this is where I'm talking about the symbolism, to where in the flashbacks, it was Alpha who saved Beta. In the present time, it was Beta who saved Alpha, because she was breaking down. She was going through a fit similar to what Beta was doing, throwing things around. And this is also the first time that, you kind of hear Beta, giving Alpha some shit. Like, he's like, look, Lydia's never coming back. And I love when he got pissed off. He was like, she is gone, Alpha. I love that. You can see the gold teeth that he has too. But I just love that. And after he basically yelled at her, and she's still holding that that bunny rabbit that she used to have, that in the flashbacks, she gave it away. Lydia was like, I don't want that anymore. I'm not a little kid. I want to be more like you. And that's what Alpha really always wanted. But it was interesting, though, when Alpha said to Beta, you know, I never had feelings for Lydia even the first day that she was born. I knew that she wasn't like me. You know, she was not like me. And that's what really kind of made her get really upset and kind of broke her. But it was just an amazing episode, guys. I mean, when Beta put his hand out to Alpha, like, come here, it's fine. And she puts his hand, you know, they're talking to each other and they're just like, yeah, you know, I know Lydia's not coming back. You know, I'm done. I'm absolutely done with feeling for her. And then we did, you know, during that scene to where Alpha was, the reason that there was chaos, I completely missed over that, during Gamma's sister's attack on Alpha was because the satellite came through the atmosphere and it, you know, jolted all the other walkers and, you know, made chaos. But in the end, Beta did mention that he saw smoke on their border, which was our group putting out the fire from the satellite. And right then, Alpha knew, yeah, they crossed the border. We're going back. And then, of course, that leads to, at the end of the first episode, to where she sees Carol at the top. Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I read an article that the scene with Carol and Alpha looking at each other, that did not exist. Those two did not film that together. It was Carol, Melissa McBride, filmed her scene, just staring down, looking down, and visualizing that she's seeing Alpha. And the same thing for Samantha Morton. She's looking up, visualizing that she's seeing Carol, but they didn't film those scenes together, which I thought was kind of strange. I figured you would want to have those two do scenes together, but not knowing that, you couldn't tell that those two didn't film those together because they were brutally looking at each other. So, an amazing episode, guys. I thought this was one of the best so far, a full Whisperer episode. Let me know in the comments your thoughts of how amazing you thought this was and the callbacks or the reveals that we got of Beta. Now that we know how he got his mask, we know the t-shirt that it comes from, but stay tuned for another video regarding the other possible reveal of who Beta could be in real life or who he was. Ryan Hurst did give some information to Insider, and I think he may have talked about it a little bit on The Talking Dead, so stay tuned for that. We'll do another video on Beta because he's one of the coolest villains that we have in this book, or in the comics and in the series. So let me know your thoughts, guys, of The Walking Dead Episode 2, We Are the End of the World, and everything Alpha and Beta. Go crazy in the comments. We want to hear your thoughts, your questions, anything else, and stay tuned for another video completely on Beta, which will give some more insight to the reveals that came from Fear the Walking Dead and some of the information that Ryan Hurst has given us. So make sure you smash the like button. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you're always notified when we're uploading content. We upload content mostly daily. We're a little bit behind this week just because Josh was out in Vegas this weekend, so we might be a couple days without a video, but we'll get back on track later in the week. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time.